It works. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So thank you first of all for the kind invitation to have the opportunity to speak for the Hungarian industry. I understand that we had in October back another event, and now we're talking to maybe a different audience. But if people are here, industry are here to listen twice, is not a problem, because there are so many details, and maybe you have other questions later on to ask. So yes, I would like to give an overview of the Advanced Research in Telecommunication Systems. This is the acronym standing for ARTES. And ARTES is basically part of the family of the ESA directorate programs like navigation, exploration, Earth observation, and ARTES deals with telecommunication. And the objective of ARTES, and this is very important to understand because it's the support of the competitiveness of European and Canadian industry on the world market. So ESA is not your customer. ESA is helping you to become more competitive. And second, it's developed the use of space for the benefit of European citizens and economy in the widest field. And I'm coming later on to that. So for sure, many of you in the audience will have a link to this needs, what ARTES is about. Now, how ARTES is structured, and many see, oh, this is highly complex structure. It is not. We have actually basically two program lines, which you should remember. One is the so-called generic program lines, which is, again, the name said it already, it's generic, it's supporting you in all aspects of the preparation of the technologies and products of your projects you want to do and your business application you want to do. And then we focus since last year to the strategic program lines, which is a focus really to three elements, which is optic, 4S, which is standing for Space Systems for Safety and Security, and obviously everyone heard about 5G, but we are not looking for 5G per se, we are looking for space for 5G. So how we can integrate space into 5G or even 6G to come. So how does it work? And this is also a very important question. ARTES works as a teamwork. It's based on partnership where the delegate contributes the funding, the industry institutions develop the technology and products for the world telecom market, and we, ESA, we share the risk and manage the contacts and activities and help you to bring it up to the world market, and you can keep the intellectual property rights and you bring in the results to the market. So it's this triangular which makes the success of ARTES. Your goals, our support, our budget, and delegations support. So in more detail, the strategic and generic program lines. You see on the right-hand side, most important for you, as it has been said already, we have a significant amount of money in Hungary already allocated for the ARTES program. And you see here that it is spread on the core competitiveness for 4.6 million, for future preparation, we come later onto these programs. But don't worry, if there's any money left or somehow not sufficient in one box, the delegation is free to move money from one box to the other. So there's a lot of freedom in ARTES for that. But the main message here is there is sufficient budget for you to support. Now, I have already introduced the generic and program lines and the strategic program lines. Let's go to the next slide to give you a kind of flavor of what it is about. So when we look to 5G, then we have several programs running with several industry in so-called partnership programs, but also for 4S, we're working with the European Commission on Saga, on GovSatcom, on IRIS, on optical communication, we're working on Hydron, and we are looking to technology in the generic program lines on the Novacoms of this Airbus and TAS platforms, which we're developing together. So really to have a support for all industry towards the world market. Why we need that? When you look to the SATCOM market, it is clear that we see a profound transformation of the entire market. And why is it? Because our children, they are just not watching any more linear TV. They want to have non-linear TV. That means they want to have the Netflix. And so the broadcaster of this world, the SES and Eutelsat, they have to find different ways of making money. But at the same time, we see new space coming, providing constellations, entrepreneurship, innovation, which was never before. So we see also fierce competition from outside Europe, in particular US and China. And as I said before, the new space and constellations will become part of this world and will enable communication beyond our widest dreams. For example, communication to handheld, communication in the desert, communication on ships, everywhere. So this will be a huge transformation. And we could be part of that. We could change and we could come from terrestrial industry to go into space and will shape this market for the benefit of everyone. So ARTES Future Preparation is a program, one of the generic program lines, which works as a mandatory program without support letter. Without support letter, what does it mean? In this case, you don't have to contact your delegation. When there is an invitation to tender in our EMIT system, I'll come later on to the links you can find, but also following the links here on the slide, which obviously will be distributed later on, you can bid on any of the outline proposals of the statement of works, which ESA is basically delivering on the system. And when you find something which is important for you to study, then you can make a bid. The only problem is it is open competition. So you really have to have a good proposal, which will be evaluated by an independent board at ESA, and there will be a contract for the winner placed. And this is fully funded, typically in the range of 100, 200, 300, 400 kilo euro. It depends on the work to be done. And often it's also beneficial when you're partnering with others having other information. Then I'm coming to the tools ready for technology and products. In a nutshell, for all the strategic program lines, but also for generic program lines, technology and products will be supported by two tools. The first tool is the so-called technology push by ESA. So we have a good overview of what is needed in the member states. In other words, we're putting in our work plan those ideas and technologies which are not existing in the member states. That's a good benchmark for you when you want to see your gap. What is your industry maybe needing in the future? You look to the work plans, and I give you later on the links, and you see which activity is basically important for ESA and at the same time not existing in the member states. So it's a gap analysis basically, which is quite useful for you, even so you're not bidding. In this case, for all technology push, but also market pull later on, you need to have the support of the delegation. So you have to contact your delegation and ask for a support letter before you prepare the proposal and submit it at the ITT deadlines, invitation to tender deadlines, which are being announced on our website, EMITS. So that's the technology work plan. And in order to participate, you can even provide ideas to us with a tool which is called Call for Ideas anytime in the year, and we will take it. And when you're good, you will win the open competition. When you say, no, I don't want to share any idea, this is our idea, and I really would like to go for a product which I'm going to sell on the market, that is called market pull, because you pull. And in this case, this is co-funding, and it goes in these 4 phases, which I come later on in more detail. So let's go again on the ARTES AT. It is 100% funded. It is open competition, and the support letter is required. It works with an annual work plan, which you can find on our website, which is here in the link below. Before you have access to the entire work plan, and on the templates, you really have to register once on the ARTES site, which normally takes 24 hours, and then you can have access to. We don't want to have China accessing to that. But that is exactly where you should look at and finding your gaps and what you want to develop. Important is also to understand, because we have 100% funding, we only go to breadboard engineering models or prototypes. We are not developing a product ready to sell on the market. This we do in the co-funding activities. Here, you could come any phase, technology phase, definition phase, or vice versa, or the product phase, or you go with product phase and then later on with technology phase because you found something needs to be further developed. So the order of these phases is arbitrary. You can choose, but it is typically the order for also for the beginner and artist, which gives you a feeling how we go from the idea to the final product in all the technology and product phases. And you see the funding level, which is here earmarked, and later on I have also some tables, which is obviously very important for you. So should you be an SME, you're eligible for up to 80% co-funding. So 80% comes from ESA and 20% comes from you. For non-SMEs, the funding is obviously different and follows the risk we are taking. So for example, when the technology phase typically is to mitigate the technical risk, then we are paying more than when we go for product phase or demonstration phase. But we also pay more for Skylight when it comes to optic. Why? Because this market is not existing yet and it's just emerging, and therefore the funding level is higher. You see all on this slide the activities and the objectives. We'll not go in detail on that, but this is basically the way how we can fund you in any of these steps. And it starts always with an outline proposal. And you find the outline proposal on our websites to download and to submit. We also have the generic program lines partnership projects. And in this, we have the ESA dealing with the technology innovation risk and the private sector with the market risk. So you are a large company, you would like to have a project with us with maybe even includes other member states or industry outside your country. In that case, we can build up a project towards your market solution. And here we have two. One is the ESA initiated ones. For example, we are working now with the European Commission on Saga, also on Hydron, to enable optical communication in the future for our citizens, but also the industry initiative, which is basically your initiative where you propose any work you would like to do in a larger framework. The partnership programs, just to give some examples, as I said before, Hydron is the optical fiber in the sky. Saga is our security and cryptographic mission. Also the ELAINE, it's being prepared, the European Global Artificial Intelligence Driven Cognitive Network, and many, many other programs which we have in place and coming. The business application might be also very important for you, because here we're talking about applications. We're talking about space solutions for the citizens in general. And what we offer is business applications, business incubation, and technology brokers. With zero equity funding, personalized ESA consultant, we give technical commercial guidance, credibility of the ESA brand, et cetera, which you can all use when you would like to make business. Again, business for you, not for ESA. And we are supporting companies to integrate space data and technology into sustainable commercial services. What is the scope of that program? Basically, it's space for daily life. It's almost everything you can imagine when it comes to energy, when it comes to transport, tourism, telemedicine, health, everything where you think you could have a proposal and in which you have an innovative management of resources with having space part of our daily life. And this is important to understand that it's so wide that for sure some of you in the audience will have some interest to contact us. Is it possible? And this is exactly why we are here, to support you in guiding you through the jungle of documents. And obviously, since we are dealing with tax money, there is kind of a process behind to make sure that we are supporting you in the frame of this program. So we will guide you. We also have a network of business incubation centers called BICs. And you can see here in the European chart, there are quite a lot we have now. So we have 20 ESA BICs, more than 60 locations. And you can read here the success in 2017. It's quite spectacular. And when you want to read further, you have here the link as well on this website. You can then later on find yourself. Obviously, we will distribute the slides and you can look. So what is important for Hungary? It is that we have an agreement there with an objective in Hungary to create and strengthen a community of successful space-related startups by supporting 25 incubators over the period of 5 years. So we have recently, or we have now 4 only. So there is room, there is things in place and under discussion in which we would like to further hosting more of these incubators in this big center. And we're offering here what it is in the circle: business development, office space, non-equity funding, and networking. Networking is, I think, the most important thing. We have all the addresses and contacts with companies around Europe and Canada, which maybe you can contact, and we bring them together in order to expand your business in space. So with that, I know it was a very short overview, but I just wanted to make more appetite on all this. Please contact us. When you have any questions, is this eligible? How can I work on that? Do you know a company which we can actually join with? Do you have a contact point? How much money would you think is possible on that one? Is this performance okay? All this we can answer because we are your benchmark. We know the industry outside, and we can actually give you, I think, valuable guidance when you come to us and want to expand your business or want to move your business into space. With that, I would like to thank everyone for listening to that and conclude the presentation. Thank you very much.